be on just about now. Good evening, folks, and thanks for coming in. And you're all very welcome. I hope you're enjoying the nice weather. Like sunshine again today in Scotland. That's 2 days in a row. So, fingers crossed, we might get 3 tomorrow and get the shorts back on. You never know. Anyway, tonight we've got Rigger to speak. As you all know, Rigger down there.
Hi, guys.
We speak as Scottish Paranormal Investigations Group. I'm getting better at that, I think. The more I say it, the better I'm getting. And we have in the blue corner, all the way from London area, Mr. Wayne Miles, Surrey Spooks. Wayne's been on a couple of times, but we've not seen him for. I don't think I've seen you this year, have we?
No, not this year.
No,
what's going on?
2021. So it's been a wee while since we had a wee chat, catching up with Wayne. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We don't have any particular. Oh, we've got Laura. Did I introduce you? Did I say you were here? No, we've got Laura as well.
I'm easily forgetting Laura.
We're going to introduce Laura, didn't I? Sorry, dear. So we don't have any particular topic, subject. We're just going to sit, chat, talk, for 60 or so minutes, as you do. So anyway, Wayne, how are you?
Yeah, good. I am now.
I
wasn't for a little while. It's all good. I'm back up and running and doing little ghosty investigations now again. So that's all good. Yeah.
Are you kind of up and down health-wise, haven't you?
Pardon?
You've been up and down health-wise.
Yeah, I had in December I had COVID and I had it quite well, not bad, but I got a clot in the leg from it and bits and pieces, and it didn't go away for a while. But it's I'm now. Then I suspected heart attack, so and it wasn't. It was just me overdoing it. But now all good. I think so anyway. I hope so.
It was just you looking for a bit of sympathy in a couple of days off work.
That would have been good. Well, I don't get no time off work.
7 days a week, is it?
Yeah. Unless I throw a sickie. And then I can go off.
So the what, bud?
Unless I go camping for the weekend, then it's all right. I can get away then.
Well, as you know, we're keen campers. Rigger's a keen camper as well.
Oh, no.
Can you just point? I just can't get
it. Are you in camping, Rigger?
What is it?
Do you like camping? Do you go out camping at all?
Aye. We usually go away around about this time. I've got to say summertime, but you don't really get a summer in Scotland, so any opportunity, we go away. Aye, anywhere. Wild camping.
There's a place where I go camping. I did a ghost hunting, and it's right on a lock. And this house was old, and it was back in 1812. It went back as far as, and it was a lockkeeper's house, and there was like a few lockkeepers there before. And I got the heritage said I could, do a little ghost hunt outside. I couldn't get inside the building. I'd like to have done, but I couldn't. And I picked up on this guy called Adam, and I don't know why. And he kept coming through, and then I got a date of 1913. So I checked it up because I had no history to look at. So when I checked it up afterwards, his name was up there in 1930. His name was Adam, and he passed away. So that was pretty scary.
When we done Caldwell last year, Wayne was watching the lives and what have you, and they kept telling us about these two faces at the doorway, and he says that the kids were scared and worried to go beyond these two faces. So we could not find these two faces. That we hunted the building, and we couldn't find these two faces, and it was actually Sarah that noticed them. See when you go in the front entrance, what's left there. On the archway, there's two heads, two stone faces.
Are you look like a gremlin type?
I've never noticed them.
Aye, honestly, they look like gremlin. can
What-
imagine,
what-
you can imagine a kid
What?
walking in there terrifying.
I think it's because it was once you was there and they couldn't get out past that door much because it being a child's home.
But it was
It
spot
was just
on.
something about the door.
It
I
was
could see
spot on.
it.
It's what you're breaking up a wee bit, Wayne.
Pardon?
You're breaking up a wee bit.
Oh, sorry. Any better now?
Keep talking and I'll tell you.
Yeah. It's do I sound any better now?
You sound a bit better now, aye.
Oh, good.
But no, he was spot on with these two faces. And you know the size of the place where it drove us nuts. After I low for it. Looking at every single wall, and I could not find it. And he kept saying, two faces, an archway, and you're like, where the? And then it was Sarah that actually, and the amount of times we'd walked in and out that door, because we were there for about 2 months, the space of 2 months kind of thing. So I don't know how many times we'd walked through that door and never ever noticed it, but I was amazed.
That's the thing. It's probably because it's when you go in, they're right there. But if you're automatically thinking you're going to look for these faces, you're going to kind of think, right, they're going to be further afield into the location. You're not going to really expect them to be like right in front of you, so to speak. That's what I would think. But I'm not noticed them, but I'll keep an eye open next time I go.
I was exactly that way of thinking, that they were inside the building somewhere. And I was, but I know Wayne's quite. Would you class yourself as a kind of medium, Wayne, or a sensitive?
Yeah, well, I'll pick up on a lot of things, and then I've done a couple of readings for people just recently, and I've been bang on, and I've had a couple of people break down and cry, and it's quite scary to know to come up with these names and get it right. So I don't know if I'm classed as a medium or not, or I just pick up on it and I see it, and then I can tell you what's there or what's not there. I only have to go into a room and I can tell you if there's something in the room. And I don't know. I think it's ever since when I told you once about when that spirit held my head to a sofa in this house. I got told it was haunted, couldn't pick anything up, nothing at all, until I lied on that sofa one night, facing away from the stairs, and my mate and his girlfriend were in the room by the side of it, but you could see through, and you could just see the stairs that go up, and then they disappear up the stairs. And this thing held my head, and it really hurt my head because it was a painful cold. It weren't just cold; it was a horrible, painful cold. And when I spoke, it didn't sound like me. And when it let go, I turned my head and I see this thing float up the stairs. But my mate's girlfriend see it too, and she screamed her head off. She was really frightened. But I thought when I got up and stood and looked up the stairs, but it disappeared by then. And I always got told it's frightened other people.
How does it help you? Does it help you with investigations? If you're going out investigating, does it help you pick up more? Yeah,
I know. I picked up on a few things now, and like the last investigation and one before, I picked up on like spirits, and they've come up and said their name on a spirit box. Actually said their name. Which is a bit. He did on the last one, Adam. I got the name Adam, and it came up, and then he said it was Adam on the spirit box, and he gave me a precise date, which was the 1930s. But when I checked the history on it, and it was there, 1930s, he was there, Adam.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, when you pick up a name, whether it's the spirit box or whatever method you're using, and then you can tie it to something. Like she's regular when we were at Loudon Kirk, we got the name Christina. And we looked to the head, it turned out it was a family plot we were standing at, and the name Christina. I'm it was an unusual. Can you mind the name? It was an unusual name. No, I'm disagreeing with you.
It's Christina.
It was Christina. Shot down, Scott.
I'm never allowed to be right, nigga. Never.
I'm not going to hear the end of this now. Do you know that?
That was a a good location. Obviously, you, Scott, yourself, and PIHs have been a few times. We've been a few times, and then the fact that we collaborated there as well. And it seems that, as you said, we were adding bits to the jigsaw, which was quite good. And then the Christina thing came through, and it was on the gravestone, and so it was Christina. So.
And it came up on the gravestone.
It was on the gravestone, aye.
Yeah, wow.
That's
My sister who comes out with me, because she's part of Surrey Spooks, but she always uses the voice box, and she loves the voice box, and it always comes up with messages about me on a spirit box. Keeps calling my name. But I found out I've got a guide now, a spirit guide called George, which he follows me about. And he, if I mention things, his names always comes up. My sister told me that. She said it always follows you.
You see, I was told a long time ago that everybody's got to do a spirit guide, somebody walks beside them and keeps them safe. And I've been told I've got one as well. Turns out it's meant to be an ex-girlfriend of mine from back in the 80s. With the what?
I was saying the day to save you there.
I thought you were
Back in the day.
I thought you were going to say the 50s or something.
No, to save you.
50s, wages, 40, back in the 50s.
Alright, maybe not the 50s. Really. It turns out it's maybe an ex-girlfriend from back in the 80s. So we tell that they all have an individual spirit, guide. Everybody's got a guardian angel. Everybody's got their own kind of. There's loads of names for it, I suppose. And they follows about, but they only make themselves kind of known when we're in kind of times of dire need. And this is when they kind of come forward, step in, and give you a wee nudge or a wee helping hand somehow. I'm not saying that it's true. Who knows? But I know this may happen. But I mean, the apps, if we playing a voices regular has as well, Wayne. And I know there's been a wee bit of controversy the last week or so concerning apps and blah blah blah. But when you get names through the app that you don't usually get, or you get accents, that's what we picked up on as well, Ricker. We get quite a lot of Scottish accent for some reason. I'm not a tech genius, but I do, as far as I'm aware, these apps, they're not designed in different languages. Accents. I mean, it's kind of a base English language, whatever you want to call it, but we've had quite a bit of Scottish come through.
Oh, 100%. When we, there's a location that we done, I spoke to you about it, it's got the farm, and a lot of the apps, I'm not a big believer in some of the apps. I like the Necrophonic app because we've got some good legit responses coming through. One being at the Care Farm, we get the name Edward that came through the Necrophonic app. So with them into the SP7, we get Edward that came through that, and then straight after that we ran an EVP, and we get Edward that came through that. So that's 3 pieces of equipment that Edward came through. And again, as you said, it was Scottish. It was a Scottish Edward. The name Edward came through, and Scottish, broad Scottish, through the 3 devices.
That kind of two bands, why? But 2 different pieces of equipment with the same name.
Every time we go to this location, we mainly like to start at a location where we'll run a couple of EVPs, just to kind of see what we're maybe getting involved in on that night, or if there's any spirits who maybe want to communicate through certain things, or just so we can kind of get a rough idea. But every time we go to that location, without fail, we'll always get Edward coming through the EVP, clear as day. Sometimes aggressive, but we don't know if he's aggressive because he could just be agitated. The fact that he's trying to say it so clear, and he's getting that agitated way, and he's maybe trying to shout it, or he's trying to get right up close to it, thinking he's maybe saying it clear, but it's not. But there's always an Edward there, and when we get it through 3 devices, well, right, definitely clarifies. There's a guy Edward here.
Maybe he's a grounded.
Eh?
Maybe he's a grounded spirit, but he's always going to be there.
That's what we reckon, because we've been sometimes I'm a strong believer if you investigate somebody on a Saturday, say you could go on a Sunday, it might not be as active. Saturday could maybe be where you're getting more activity. We've tried it ourselves. We've been to locations on a Friday. We've then returned the Saturday after, and then the Sunday. And some of the spirits that's maybe communicating on the Friday don't communicate on the Saturday. Some that communicate on the Saturday don't communicate on the Sunday. But it doesn't matter what time you go here. You're always getting Edward in the exact same bit, the exact same area of the location.
He's grounded them.
It's the most active location I've been to. As well as I imagine people in the team as well. So Scott's definitely one that we'll be collaborating on, 100%.
I think that does that sounds like a definite a definite plan. What would you think about the apps, Wayne? Like you're saying, the name Edward on 3 different apps. What's your view on the whole kind of app situation?
On apps? Well, are you meaning what we use for an app?
That is, but also, as I say, there's been a lot of controversy over the last week, 10 days, whatever, about apps and, people are saying, oh, they're not 100%, you need to discard them, put them in the bin, all that kind of thing. What's your views on them?
I don't mind using them because we use a voice box, and I've got an app on my my iPad that I use it, which is like a voice box. But scans white noise. I can't get on the internet on it when I'm out, but it'll still scan white noise. And if anything comes through on that, then it's not through a radio because it can't pick up radio frequencies because it's just scanning a white noise. But I do get voices on it, which is hard to explain if you've got Wi-Fi, so you can't pick up the radio. That's why I like you. And I've had voices. I had one in graveyard. Me and my sister were investigating because my sister does it with me, Michelle, and she's a white witch. And she, we was at this place, and I kept getting this name Elsie, and it was in like a graveyard. The same thing is, and it drew me. I said, at the back, got to go at the back, go at the back. And when I got to the back of the graveyard, and not been in there before, and on the grave I got to was Elsie, right on the grave. And I think that's where I picked up on George as well. So and that's done twice. I went to Portland Bill in Weymouth and did one there, and I picked up on another name. And the first grave that I looked at when we got in the graveyard, I kept saying the name when we was walking up to it. I kept saying I picked up on his name. And the first name was John, and the first name on the graveyard we touched was John. Now he dated back years.
I think spirit can get. I mean, folk might disagree with me, but everybody's got their own different kind of point of view. I think if spirit is strong enough, or even ancient, kind of desperate enough that they can draw you to where to a certain location.
Yeah.
Well, since you're saying that, Scott, quickly back to the farm that I was just chatting about there. Now, it's a really big location. A lot of it's maybe too dangerous to investigate, but there is certain bits you can investigate that's pretty much safe. But the whole location, as I said, it's quite a big location. We automatically went to a certain area, and then that's where we get the activity for Edward and stuff. And that's what we were discussing. Is it maybe the fact that we were meant to go there? Like Edward maybe that strong, that he's come in, because he was willing to communicate, and he always is. But it's always that area we go to, and we always get activity. And that's what I was saying, is that maybe we were supposed to have went to that area.
Aye, subconsciously they are kind of draw you to it.
It's funny that I said that about the fact that I drawn to a certain place, because when we were in Coldwell, although we were in a particular place and we did a lot of the investigation at that particular place, we got completely different responses depending on remember what you said about depending on the day. And it reminded me of that there. Like, in certain days, there would be me, Scott, Sarah, and other members of the team, and we weren't getting as many responses as what we would be say as if it was during the day. the best piece of evidence we actually got was just me and Sarah sitting at the stairwell in Caldwell, and many times have we sat in that stairwell with so many folk on different days, and the activity was so different. Yet we sat there that I think it was in the morning spot.
I can't mind. That's the day you tell me to sod off.
We tell him to go away because we were all investigating, and it seemed to the evidence seemed to die, and then he sodded off to the basement. The evidence again picked up, so it was like, right, this is Friday, this is Lauren Sarah's here, and the evidence we captured was absolutely astronomical. It was really strange. Can't explain that.
I mean, do you think, guys, that Spirit does have a preference of who they want to talk to?
Aye, I do.
Yeah.
Yep. We were at a castle. Well, we use Scott. I don't want to say the name. You know what one it is. Down in the big hallway. Now I was there about 6 months ago with the old team members that was in the team, and there was 4 of us, 4 males in the hallway, and we never got one bit of activity until the 2 females that was in the team at the time came down, started calling out, started getting activity. Cat boards were lighting up, REM pods were lighting up, stuff was coming through the necro, stuff was coming through the spirit box, stuff was coming through the EVP. But when we were there, just the 4 guys, we got nothing. I think some spirits, maybe children, kind of take me to females, maybe see them as a mother figure. If you've got 4 guys standing up, or maybe might find it quite intimidating. That's why sometimes I like to lower myself down as well. If it's maybe, I believe it's maybe a young child or that kind of lower down to their height, so they don't kind of feel that intimidation. But I think having a female in the team or a couple of females can definitely help. I think sometimes spirits prefer speak to females.
That castle you were on about, the castle you was on about, was there was there an armory in it?
No.
With weapons on the wall?
I can tell you what castle is. I just don't know why I really mentioned on this. But I'll speak to you anyway once we come off it.
There might have been an armory in the building near it, Rigger. You know the one I mean?
Oh, aye, that's right. Probably. Yep.
It's about a 5-minute walk. There's 2 buildings and they're 5 minutes apart.
Probably a good chance of that. Aye.
The armory could have been, because I imagine one of the kind of buildings would have added some kind of armory, you know, for obvious reasons. What were you, Wayne? Do you think Spirit has a preference? Have you ever done an investigation and you've got a mixed team and they'll not talk to the guys, but they'll talk to the women, or vice versa?
On me? Then they normally, if I'm out with my sister, they normally talk to me. They have said her name a couple of times, and but she tries to talk to him, and she does through the voice box. But she loves the voice box, so I let her do it all the time. And they have a pilot came through once in Hersham, where I live, and it spoke, and it was talking to her.
The Wayne stays in Richmond, is that right?
Where I am?
Aye.
No, I'm in Hersham, which is near Hampton Court.
Aye. Why did I say Richmond? Where's Richmond? Aye, Richmond's next to Putney. Don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Aye. I always think you're in Richmond, which is right next to Putney.
I'm not far away from Richmond.
So I'm in the right area then.
Pardon?
I'm in the right area then.
Yeah. You're not too far away.
I see. So I was kind of right with that one.
Yeah. I can drive to Putney, Richmond within 20 minutes. Not even that.
Putney is a nice part of London. Expensive, but it's a nice part of London. But yeah. Wayne is very, very close to Hampton Court Palace, a place that I love. I've been there quite a few times, and it's just an amazing building. Have you investigated there yet, Wayne? Or in the
I
forest?
have done. I took an EMF in there and had a little go on the EMF. And where the two places I picked up on spirits, that they gave us this ghost thing afterwards, where they reckon the ghost was haunted. And the two places I picked up on the EMF was where they reckon these spirits were seen. And it went off twice. The Queen's Stairs. There's a hallway, and it's got paintings on the hallway and two fireplaces in this hallway. And I picked up one of them by the hallway, and they reckon a spirit walks that hallway.
Is that the Great Gallery?
Near the Great Gallery.
What? See, the Great Gallery is meant to be where Catherine Howard was supposed to be. Also, that's where she broke away with her guards, and she tried to run to the chapel to beg Henry for her life. So she's said to haunt there. And the other one is Jane Seymour, who's said to haunt the Starlight Staircase that led up to Edward's bedroom. So that's meant to be an anniversary haunt.
I know Anne Boleyn walks on the outside of the building. That I do know, I've been told. So not all the spirits are inside. There's a couple of spirits that are on the outside of the building that walk around the building.
You see, this has always puzzled me. I don't usually think of this, guys, but take Anne Boleyn, for instance. You know, Henry's second wife, you know, headed, what have you. She's said to haunt at least 7 different locations.
Yes.
You know, she's meant to haunt, you know, Hampton Court, Tower of London, Hever Castle, Salisbury Hall. That's just 4 of the locations that she's meant to haunt. Why do you think a spirit would haunt several locations?
Maybe it just brought memories, I suppose. It's where you go to a memory, don't you? Where you think of, you know, a places you liked. You know, if I was a spirit, I'd go to the places I used to like.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, you know, when they say a lot of graveyards are haunted, I don't think all of them are haunted, because I don't think the spirit wants to go to where it was buried. It'd rather go to where, you know, where it had a memory.
Aye, exactly. You know, a happy memory. Just as we get to she's meant to haunt the Tower of London. Everybody knows that experience of the Tower of London wasn't a good one.
Well, you see some spirits that are grounded as well. I think it's where there's been like murders, or, you know, where people have been killed in the house or killed in that building. Then some of them are grounded into that building.
Aye.
Or they move on.
You said that's what puzzles me, because she's said to haunt inside the Tower of London, where she was executed within the walls in front of the constable's house, and she's buried in the chapel, just at the back of there. And it's always puzzled me, why was she haunting there? Because this is where she met her executioner, basically. You know,
maybe because.
What's your view on it, like one spirit haunting several places?
Well, you know what it's like as well. There's a lot of locations out there where there's always a white lady or a green lady. So she could be perceived as a one person which is no actual. There could be more than one spirit, but it's believed that it's her, maybe. But with the travelling side of things, in my mind, you know me, but my mind just starts going 100 miles an hour. So if she was to travel from one location to another, right? How would you travel, but?
Yeah.
How would she travel from one location to another? It's not as if she's going to catch the number 9 bus. But
don't they say they use mirrors and different things as a teleportation or something like that?
That's what they say, but it just boggles my mind. You know what I mean? If you're just walking, like maybe she would have done. I don't know how far away these places are really, but I don't know. But again, it could be more than one spirit. Maybe it's just perceived to be her, but there's so many spirit, white ladies, green ladies, and all this. It's at all these different locations and whatnot. But It boggles my mind, just even the fact of how would you travel. Like,
but how would they know unless they've done an investigation there too, if it was them or not?
aye.
Unless it's an actual investigation to say, yeah, it was her.
Mm-hmm. But again, it could be down to, as what you said, Wayne, it could be at these places where maybe their happiest memories are, or some of them, apart from obviously getting, was she got her head decapitated, wasn't it? Is that what it was?
Aye, she was executed.
Obviously, that's not really. But maybe she stays there for. Maybe she's always after revenge. That could be another. That could be another thing.
Aye, well, that's a good thing because revenge, especially with Anne, the way you all know. I don't know if he's familiar with the story. I'm not going to get into history, but we are going to be doing a thing on the Tudors. I'm not going into the history, but she was a kind of innocent victim. She was a scapegoat, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Facebook user. It turned out after her death, after Henry had her executed, Henry was then convinced that she was innocent all along. Obviously, there was nothing he could do about it then. But we're going to cover the Tudors and what have you in another video. So it could be, that's why she is there because, she was murdered basically.
Mm-hmm.
There was no justification to her execution. She was murdered on chopped up charges of treason, adultery, and witchcraft. So that is possibly a reason. But I think spirits going from one location to another. The many are experts, but can all just as you say, right, your heat starts going and going and going. We can all just surmise. We can have different ideas. I would imagine that a spirit you would just need to think of a place and it'd be there.
Well, see, that's kind of the thing I was going to say.
So say Anne Boleyn could be standing in the Tower of London for talking sake, and she thinks about Hever Castle and Banshees at Hever Castle.
Or maybe she's getting red shoes on and says, "There's no place like home." Clink clink.
That's funny.
But it's mind-boggling. Also, a lot of people say obviously like mirrors and as Wayne said and stuff, but we don't know that. Did she walk? It blows my mind, even just things like that. Just thinking of that, then your mind just starts going. You start digging deeper into a hole. What if it's this? What if it's that?
What if, like, we perceive spirits or entities through energy? What if they can do that? Like, what if, and this is going to mind blow you, what if we, as humans, start thinking of a certain person, right? And that emanates a certain amount of energy for that spirit to then grab hold of. And once they've got an infinite amount of that energy, they can then visit that certain place. Do you know what I mean?
But this is why we do what we do. It's to find this information out. So, and it's you're never going to run out of and try to gather information. But even just thinking like that, as you and Scott were saying, like just think that much and then just go right. I want to go there, and then it's just you're there.
Manifestation, yeah. Sorry, blow your mind up.
I kind of lose me for a wee second.
Too many big words for you.
Aye, too many big letters put together. I'm too Glasgow to remember.
Scott, see it, Bob. I think I spoke to you about it as well. It'll be good to maybe bring up when new Wayne's here is. I think we spoke about it was. Do you think spirits? So if you go to a highly rated location that's well known in the paranormal world, or it's maybe abandoned or hired out for the night, there's been so many teams go a week, say 5 teams go a week. Do you think spirits start understanding the equipment that we use? Or do you think you start understanding what the REM pod is? Do you think you start understanding what the cat ball, K2s, EVPs, therefore?
I think when I use a bit of equipment, I try and explain it if there is anything there and say, can you come up and use this? Like with a REM pod, you can go up, walk up to it and touch it and it'll go off. So I'll try and say, can you come over and do that? And sometimes it has gone off like that before. And when I've asked it to.
But it's like, so say See, us four went to a location, right, for the first time. We're the first paranormal investigators to go. And the spirits are like, oh, what's this? What's that? Oh, I'm too scared to touch that. But 10 years down the line, we return again. Or 10 years down the line, there's been over 50,000 teams that's now went. I believe that the spirits will go, right, I know what a REM pod is now. There's been so many teams coming. I know what a REM pod is.
Yeah.
I know what they flashy balls are for. I know how to do this. I know what that wee grey box is. I know how to speak into this. I think they start getting used to it. They start understanding it. I could be wrong, but again, that's just my head going 100 mile an hour.
What would be interesting is three or four different teams. One team go one night, one team go the next night, one team go the next night, and so on, and see what evidence you come up with, and see if you all come up with the same thing. If you don't speak to each other, what you come up with the day before, that would be interesting. Because if three or four of you are all the same thing or the same name, then that's it's not a coincidence, is it? It's no. It's got to be real. Or it's got to be weird.
You can
That
do
would be
that.
interesting.
You can do that on the same investigation, that kind of thing, because we're putting together one paracamp with Lanarkshire Paranormal as well, and the plan is it's a camp. We're camping it overnight, and rather than going to their location and leave at 12, 1 in the morning, we investigate practically all night, basically, to see if it changes. So I mean, if there's enough people there, then we can split into two and go to two different locations, maybe an hour and a half, whatever, and then take a break. Don't talk about the investigation, and then swap out. And then the other set investigates, and then sit down and compare notes and see if there is something. Because I think Spirit does learn. Personally, I think Spirit stands about and watches you. I think that they are always watching. They don't always make themselves known. I've said in many a live that a spirit at the end of the day, you can have all the gadgets in the world, but if a spirit doesn't want to talk to you, then you're going to get lumps.
Yep.
Basically, you can have a spirit sitting right next to you, or standing right next to you, just listening to you, and you could be asking, every single question you can think of, and they're thinking,
This surprised me.
you know what I mean? I'll, stand there thinking, I'm not talking to you tonight because I'm not in the mood.
I'm in your house.
And you maybe spend 3 years sitting beside the spirit of a guy or a woman, and you don't know anything about it because they just didn't want to talk to you. What do you think about that? Theory?
It's a possibility as well as I don't know if you've ever had a dream where it's like, say you're getting chased in this dream and you're trying to run, but everything's just so slow motion. Like you're trying to get away, but you can't. And you're trying so hard. Like maybe it's a possibility that there's spirits there that they want to communicate, but they just can't communicate. Like when I pass away, in my mind, I'm going to go and wind my mates up, right? I'm going to go and wind them up. I'm going to wind Lindsay up when she's sleeping, like, ping her on the head, ding, all this stuff. But again, it might be so hard. It might even just be so hard, even just to touch. Just some spirits and they try so hard. I think that's how some EVPs came through sounding quite aggressive. Because the spirits are just, they've gathered so much and they've just get that one wee split second, just even say hello. But they're just trying, just sound so aggressive. But as a possibility where you're just getting watched by a big creepy spirit, like, I'm not to you tonight.
At the end of the day, who's to say we're not? What about you, Wayne? Do you think it's possible that the spirit is just standing about watching us?
You can do. Yeah, you can have one standing next to you. Ain't going to say nothing all night. I've seen spirit and it's not spoke.
Because they just don't want to.
Yeah, some don't. Some just won't let you know who they are.
And let's face it, you can't exactly threaten them with anything.
No, of course you can't.
you don't talk to me, I'm going to, punch your teeth out or something. You threaten me, you threaten me.
You ain't gonna hurt it.
You wonder how like there is spirits like that as well, because there's times I've been location I've been provoking the spirit, and they don't want to communicate, but you know that they're there. They've maybe communicated slightly, but they're like, I'm not communicating anymore. You wonder why they just don't go and throw a chair, throw a stain to get you out, just to say I'm annoyed, leave. You wonder why they just stand there and just.
I think it comes back to what you just said, Rigger.
And
It takes a huge amount of energy just to do that tiniest thing. That's why they can.
Yep. Well, when I was at the again, forgot back to the farm again. I posted up in my group, and it's me basically, excuse the language here, shitting myself, right? And I was doing the blind spirit box when we done the spirit side and stuff like that. And through the blind spirit box, David said, "Go up and touch Rig." And on anything I can spit down on anything whatsoever, something slapped me in the head. Look, slapped me in the head. And I know that was Edward because I was annoying him. So I put it back on again. Second time it happened again. And I went back and I looked at the footage so many times, just in case maybe it was a bat or a bird or whatever. Absolutely nothing. Stephen's camera picked on nothing. But just by my reaction, you could tell that something had done me. So with that happening, and then I reckon that was Edward. And then with him getting so annoyed, but then he'll go quiet. Whether he would think he would try and do something. If he's got the ability to slap me in the head, he's got the ability to get us out of there. But at the same sense, do they enjoy it? They enjoy like kind of mocking you and just watching you. Like they might find us strange. They might go, "What are they doing?" You know what I mean? What are they doing? Why are they here at 2 in the morning in the pitch black, trying to get me to light up a cat ball? When they should be in their bed.
I might think we're nutters. Would you reckon we think that?
I've had a spirit call me crazy. Investigating that graveyard, and it came out and says you're crazy. And I thought, well, you spoke, so I can't be that crazy. It came through as clear as anything. Called me crazy. But I was doing. And that was in the same as Elsie. Which I thought was weird.
They don't want to be known. Like, because I know myself, if I was a spirit, which I believe if I'd in an abandoned place I'd passed the where there's people coming in to try to communicate with me, I would have a bit of fun. You know, I'd be like, well, I'm here, I'm going to show you that I'm here and stuff like that. Like, but then you do get the ones that can and they're trying, and then you get the ones that can, but they're just stubborn and they just don't want. They're just maybe private. They were private about their life when they were living, and now they're private about their spirit side of things, their spiritual life. So
I've heard a spirit crying. I went to an asylum called Denby Asylum in Wales, and you could clear as anything hear this girl crying all the time. But see, I kept saying I can hear the girl crying, and it was in the morgue. And I said I can hear her all the time, even out when we went outside the morgue, I could hear her crying. And then I got told that other people who experienced it before have heard to get this girl crying, so I wasn't the only one. And that was this Denby Asylum was like, Simon, can you plug that in now? And plug it in. So I was just talking to my wife, my battery's going to go flat. But yeah, but this place, Denby Asylum, is really creepy. But there was apparently there was witchcraft that was done there years ago. If you look it up on Denby Asylum, it'll tell you all about it. One crazy place. But it's got its own churchyard, which we went round the churchyard. And then my friend took a picture, and he was taking like pictures around the building. He picked up on this dark figure. It's one place
Denby Asylum, places with asylum, etc. There would have been a lot of suffering, and went on, and I think that's where the stone tape theory comes in. I really think of the stone tape theory, buildings like that. That building can record. So do you think maybe a lot of what's heard, like say in Denby Asylum, is maybe residual to what's happened? That makes sense.
But she was definitely upset, and I could hear her just crying all the time, and I was trying to communicate with her, but she wouldn't stop crying. And that's when I did get scared because a bat flew in through the window and landed on my face, went straight into my face, and that did scare me. Out of nowhere, through this window, hit me in the side of the head. That was scary.
Where was it we got the bat?
Bats.
Aye. What was loud? Was it Loudon?
No. Who were the last time?
There was a bat or something.
Aye, but doing at the castle, but
I don't know the other building. There was a bat, and they were, oh, we're going to die, we're going to die.
I know.
Like Dracula and just dropped through the ceiling or something. The way they were getting, ah!
that's terrifying.
There was a bat. You know,
Sorry if I ghost up you, you know what I mean? But as soon as you see a bat, ooh.
aye,
Yeah.
we're out to ghost hunting, but a bat, the same as a pigeon at the Noor.
Don't talk about the pigeon.
The Noor Castle.
Aye.
This pigeon. You know, we're out there ghost hunting, and a pigeon scares them away. What chance have we got if a spirit appears? You know, they were nearly off by the war for a pigeon.
That's the other thing. He's just on the subject of bats and pigeons and whatnot. Like a lot of teams and that as well. Like what you take into consideration as well, because it happened to us. We thought we were getting activity with the ball, and it happened to be any question we were asking. The ball was lighting up, so we were like, "Oh, we're getting good activity," but it turned out it was a mouse. There was a mouse running by, so we just came back. We must have placed the ball on maybe the path that the mouse would use, but it's ran by the ball and saying, "Oh, this lights up," and it's ran by. So we were thinking we're getting activity, but obviously because we're in an abandoned location and whatnot, you're going to get mice and bats and birds and stuff.
Yeah.
But it did turn out that it was a mouse. It's happened twice, but now when we go to an abandoned location, we'll take that into consideration and stuff like maybe when we're going walking about, try and make a wee bit of noise, just maybe kind of scare the mice and that away from where you are. But it's easy enough done. But a pigeon, Laura, a pigeon.
Aye, a pigeon. We're in the middle of the dark. It was really dark, right? It was freezing
It was
cold.
night time. What do you
Shut up.
expect?
It was freezing cold. We're just to set this investigation, right? It's deadly silent, right? And all of a sudden, we're not about, and then all of a sudden, we hear this, ooh, there's blood. Swear, we nearly died doing that. So quick. Well,
It
me
was
and Sarah
embarrassing,
did.
really.
Me and Sarah did.
It was really kind of one of these embarrassing moments, you know, you just want to hang like your head in shame. But no, see, that's the thing, as you say, Riggy, with the cat ball and the mouse, you need to try and debunk everything.
Mhm.
You know, it was before about I've called it the paranormal train. You get teams, unfortunately, out there, you know, that when they say it was a mouse, they would say, oh,
Yep.
the ball's away, the ball's going again. We had major activity on the ball, even though it's, you know,
Aye.
the mouse came back. But they wouldn't say that. But that's just the kind of downside of the paranormal.
It happened with a REM pod as well. Not in the same location, a different location. The REM pod was gone.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
a fly. See, this is what I keep doing with a fly.
Is that pigeon?
No, he batted a fly away and it just collapsed on me. It's somewhat on me.
Aye, it happened with a REM pod. The REM pod was going constant, and it was fluctuating. It was right up, all the lights were coming on, and like a rainbow. And again, that turned out it was a mouse. Because a lot of these places in abandoned locations and that, there's very also really dark areas at night time anyway, but there's areas where it's a lot darker, so it's harder to see. And maybe having too much lights on, the spirits might not want to communicate. But so this REM pod was going, and we were like, this is brilliant. And it turned out, I put a torch on, and it turned out it was a mouse from the REM pod.
Cool.
What would do your end, Wayne? You get any teams that jump on the paranormal wagon?
No, I always try to see if I can debunk it first of all, but it's just a bit, if anything, you know, because it's not always paranormal when stuff happens. like with EMFs, you know, you can't, if you use an EMF, you can't put it too near anything else electrical because it'll respond to like a phone or something like that. But it's all right if you're in a graveyard or something like that, because when you're in one of them, there isn't nothing really electrical unless, like, you know, if you put it on the ground and walk away and it goes off, then it's a bit weird.
You see that to me, that's what makes it
Or a
fun.
rental.
They try to find out. But I find debunking interesting as well. You know, not just the investigating side. We love investigating.
Before you go to a place, do you ever find out any history on it? Because I try not to, because then if I pick up on anything and then I check on the history afterwards, that what anything by names or something we picked up on, and then, you know, it's if it's true then or not. Because I could go to a place and say a person called Bill died there, and then this bill comes through, and I say, well, because I've already mentioned it, you know what I mean? So I try not to find that history, only after.
Whether you do you try to find out the history, or do you?
I'll find out slight history. I've not really got the ability to pick up on spirits or that, but I'll keep it to myself unless the team want to know. But Jan and Liz, they're quite sensitive. More like Jan, she'll say, I don't want to know anything about history. Like, nothing. See what I can pick up on. But that's absolutely fine. But sometimes I'll maybe have a wee niggle. I like history as well, so just kind of so I know what I'm expecting. But names and that, I'll keep it to myself. And then if anything comes up, I'm like, I'll keep that to myself again until we do the Paranormal Hangover, the podcast. And I'll say, right, you've picked up this name came through. And whatnot. But I'll tell you, but I'll not dig too deep, but I'll not dig into the depths of what's actually happened, and just maybe when it's been built, maybe a main name or a relative to the main owner or things like that. But I'll not dig too deep into it. No, every time. Sometimes I'll just go and put in a link and see what we get.
I don't know. We do, don't we?
It depends on what it is. If it's a huge
Like Caldwell, we did. You know, we investigated there, but then we started after the first two investigations. We started digging then for the history, but there was actually very, very little history on Caldwell. After between 1927 and 1985, there was nothing.
Completely lost.
Because also it was a home or a hospital for children. So the records are sealed. They were sealed for 75 years, so there's still about another 40 years to go. 40 years something to go before they're actually in the National Library in Glasgow, the Caldwell records. So we couldn't we could find out who built it and when, sort of up to 1923 kind of time. Then in 1927 the Government Health Board bought it over, and then that was it. There was nothing. So we were kind of blind then. And the likes of the Newark Castle places and that, obviously we covered them before on stories on the page. So with a rough idea of the history, know a lot of names and stuff, just kind of general kind of stuff on it. But like where we were last night, we were at Colwyn and Abbey last night, and we don't really know the history of that place.
I knew nothing.
There's so much history. Sarah's at Colwyn, and the history of that place is astronomical. There's tons and tons of it, and we've never actually started to look at it. So last night we went blind, but last night obviously was a different kind of experiment we were trying. We didn't have all the usual bits and pieces with, that's not what we were there for. But we love history because the name will be there basically. But I don't know. It's kind of 50-50. We investing. We have been in a couple of places we've not a clue. About like the power station. But I've told you about it. We don't have a clue about the history of there. We don't know who built it, whatever. Places like that, we have picked up and stuff there. But
You also saw the guy. I think that day we went. I think it was just me said, "Oh, I just thought, did you see that? Did you see that guy?"
I was a guy outside.
No, it wasn't a you. So
Aye, it
spirit
was,
guy. Aye.
there was a shape there and everything. Going by the door just as we were coming out. We were doing it, I think we were doing there taking photos, whatever, and we saw it just as we were coming. And it says, "Did you see that?" Never seen it. I was just going by the door. It's like that castle we thought we might be an armory in. We've got a lot of evidence there before. But I don't know about the history of the place. We've never actually dug into the history.
No, like, I love it with history sometimes. I'm going to check that location tomorrow. I'll take a drive down. I've not checked any history on it. Maybe I'll check on. I like to check on history as well. Some places, maybe in case, especially for abandoned, there's been fires and whatnot, because it could be quite dangerous. But new locations that I've not been to, I'll usually maybe go during the day at some time, take a look a bit, just to see where the hazards are. Last thing I want is to go with a team or collaborate with another team and somebody falls through the floor or gets seriously injured. So sometimes I'll maybe check the history, maybe see if there's been fires or if it's known for like X amount of vandalism, stuff like that, kind of weakening the building, things like that. Because you kind of want to be safe at the same time as well. So
Denby's a bit like that. It's all falling apart, and there was a few fires there, and things went on. It's security guarded now, so you got to find a way in. If you can get past security guard, which we have done, you can get in and you can film. Most Haunted went there once and filmed, and they won't go back there again.
no.
We will not go back there again.
See,
Something scary in there.
I'd love to live with you, Wayne, because you're kind of soaked in Tudor history down there.
Yeah, well, Hampton Court is. So you got the Tower of London. You got there's loads of history. London's the biggest for history because you got where Jack the Ripper was, and that's a good place. That's one place I'm going to go and do very soon. And Highgate Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And they reckon once there was vampirism and all this things went on, and that bit I can't believe it's true, but the things that went on in that that cemetery is a bit scary.
Vampire, I need this respect to folk that follow and believe it, but no, I'm not convinced with the vampire.
No.
Vampire thing, I don't believe it. Basically, same as obviously, like I said, with the Gorbals vampire.
Sorry.
So, Scott, let's just say there's no chance of me being a vampire because I'm getting all my teeth ripped out. So I basically I'll wait.
I might be 7 out next week. All round a little lump taken out.
Well, I get 4 out the other day and it's sore. And see, funnily enough, I asked my dentist. I asked him if he could make my false teeth put fangs on them. Funnily enough.
Oh.
Right.
Maybe I get new ones in.
I'm not saying that. The whole vampire, we'd love to visit Highgate. We will get there eventually. I know we're saying a couple of times when we're coming down to you, but obviously COVID hit, and then all the
places. I can show you a couple of places. I've got places for you to stay, even on a campsite if you want, which is steeped in Langhells and the Locks and on the Thames and people drowning on the Thames up near there and things that went on. And I'll take you up High Wycombe. Wycombe Caves is a good one. When they had Hellfire Caves, they called it.
Oh, Hellfire. I've seen that on YouTube. I watch a guy on YouTube and he's been. That looks cool.
It is cool. It's really, really good place to do ghost hunting.
There's a lot of worship and all that took place in there.
I do know a bit of history on it and what happened in there and who was there, and a couple of famous people were in there years ago. With the Hellfire Caves was a secret organisation, wasn't it? And they were into lots of things that went on in there, and
it looks amazing.
Yeah. But I've also got an racetrack by me, by Brooklands Racetrack, which is old and sticks in history, and like drivers losing their heads and different other things that went on, and even an airstrip there. But London's got a good place.
four places I'd like to do in London is, I've been to the Tower of London, I've been to Hampton Court a few times. Amazing places, just when you think of who's, the full history of them. But I'd like to do the forest next, round about the Hampton Court where Henry used to hunt.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that's why that's the park next door, Bushy Park.
And as a pirate wharf, something you call it, with the Thames, it's where they used to execute the pirate.
Yeah, I know exactly where. I can take you to that, and you don't need permission, not to film in the Bushy Park, but you just got to watch the deers because you can get attacked by a deer. But if you can dodge that, I know people have seen things in there with a big fountain.
You can drive through that park, is that right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can walk through it.
I've been in that park. When I was in London one time, we took the motor to Putney Hampton Court, and I'm sure that must have been the part that we drove through.
Yeah, well, it was part of Henry the Eighth's hunting ground.
I'd like to do there. Highgate, I'd like to do Highgate, see if I meet a vampire or three, you might meet them, some of the stories people believe are probably shot down for us, but are just kind of ludicrous. I say the Gorbals vampire, quite a history lesson, Wayne. The Gorbals vampire originated from a comic book back.
I might take you to the Demon House. I've got to investigate the house, the Demon House. It's called the Old Demon House, and you can last 20 minutes in the room, and you won't last any longer. Things happen.
Are you talking about the Ivy House?
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be a demon in it. Supposed to be, but I've not been in there. I've heard stories about it, and I've been invited to go in there, and I will do because you have your chest hurts and things happen, and it's horrible.
The Ivy House at Warrington's also called the Demon House. That's what I thought you were talking about. The Demon House as in the Ivy House. We done that back in March. We went down there to investigate that, and it's a great location. We were Charlie Rock, Rosine in Wonderland, and there's a fantastic location. A bit of drive, mind you, for us, but it was but we get
I'll take you to the Ostrich Inn, just up the road from us, and it's meant to have been where people stayed in these in like a letting room or a letting house for the night, or a stagecoach house, and they were tipped up in their bedrooms and dropped into hot fat, and they were burned in hot fat and then killed, and all the valuables took away, and it was it went on for a long time. It killed lots of people. And then the people got hanged for it. But Most Haunted have been there, and they've done an investigation at the Ostrich Inn, and that's just up the road.
I've heard of that. Just in the village Burkin here, they used to do them in. Burkin here selling the bodies to the.
That was Edinburgh folks.
Yeah.
But no, we will get down to London eventually. I'm dying to get back.
I'm coming up Scotland. I still want to come up Scotland.
Well, we've not moved anywhere. I think the pandemic screwed. Certainly, we had a lot of plans. Yeah, screwed a lot of plans up for everybody. No doubt this for you and Oregon. It's just a big,
There's a place up where you are called Colzean Castle. I want to go to as well.
Oh, Colzean Castle.
Yeah.
There's caves underneath that as well.
That's it. Yeah, the Briars Lair. Was it the Briars Lair? Or...
I'm not sure how accessible the caves are, but
the caves are a bit. You can park at a wee car park. Maple Beach it's called. It's about a mile walk, but it is quite unsteady. It's an unsteady walk, but there is caves there. I've been in.
The story goes there was a piper who was sent in there. It was a witch's cave, and the piper was sent into the cave, and he never came out the cave. And now every time there's a wedding, from the family that lived there, you can hear the piper playing the pipes just before the wedding. So
That's
the story.
quite similar. That's quite similar to the Edinburgh story about there's two different versions. One's a piper, one's a drummer boy. That they found the tunnel underneath the castle. That went down through the Royal Mile, and the piper, the drummer, say it was a piper for talk's sake. He volunteered to get in the tunnel and play the pipe, followed for the street up above, and all of a sudden the piping stopped. So they've been doing to try and find him, and the guy just vanished. And they say that on certain nights you can hear the sound of pipes or the sound of drums, whatever it is, playing on the Royal Mile. We've spoken to a few people from Edinburgh who have said that's a load of crap because the Edinburgh Castle is built on an old volcano, and just the sheer rock itself, it says would have been impossible to tunnel through. So there's no such tunnel, and so that's just one he's missed it. I was going to say legend, just a miss. I mean, the caves underneath the lead. Maybe it is true. I don't know. Same with Sonny Bean caves. We'd love to investigate there, but it's the access to them.
I've been to the Sonny Bean Cave as well. It's all right getting down. It's getting up. That's good. You know, we actually parked above the cave, looking for the cave. So we parked above the cave, and then we thought, oh, could be it's 10 mile this way and away, and then came back and then realised we'd parked above it. So we went down, but again, it's all the timing because of the tide, and then it is a bit of a walk. Down there, it's you don't need to be nimble or anything like that, but it's a bit. If you make a wrong move, you could hurt yourself. It's not the biggest either. It's not the biggest inside.
If you make a wrong move, you're in the Irish Sea, basically.
Right, it's not the biggest either because I think it was something like 1.5 mile or 2 mile long allegedly. This cave or whatever it was, but now it's all been blocked in and stuff. So it really isn't that big. A group of 6 says too many for it.
See, we do have good locations up here. It's just the access there. What were you, Wayne, doing your end? How do you find access?
You've got it's like Hampton Court. You do need permission from the Tower of London. Believe it or not, you need permission to get into Hampton Court. And how I know this because I went up there with a friend of mine from Liverpool. I used to do ghost hunts with him, and they told us that you have to get permission. But we filmed a little bit anyway. And now I've got some friends that work there anyway, so it's make it a little bit easier.
You get people on the inside, obviously.
Yeah, once you get to know a couple of people on the inside, it's a little bit easier to get away with things.
It is a beautiful building. I mean, the thing is, I didn't realise how big it was until the first time I went. And you stand in front of them before you get through the archway. You just stand in front of the building itself. And then obviously once you get through and you're in the courtyard, you just start looking at this place, and it's just
in that courtyard is where I think people lost their heads in that courtyard because I get that feeling every time I go in that little courtyard.
I'm not sure if there was any execution because Hampton Court obviously originally was built by Cardinal Wolsey.
It was,
home. But when he started to fall for grace to the king after he failed to get the king's divorce to Catherine Aragon, Wolsey started to he wasn't the king's favourite anymore, and so in a bid to win back the king's favour, Wolsey gave the Hampton Court to Henry.
Yeah.
Henry turned it into his fun palace, basically. So I'm not sure if we can certainly check that out to see, but I'm not sure if there was any execution.
I just get that horrible feeling that it just feels like there was. And it might have not been just like famous ones. It might have just been, someone was bad and.
Laurel
I don't think the Queens.
Laurel did some digging, but it's it's just when you stand in these places, you know, and you think, you know, I'm standing in the same bit that Henry VIII stood in. You know, I'm trying to walk through that door, or you know, Catherine Howard and whoever, and that's what fascinates us. And you
Yeah.
think, I mean, Henry has said to haunt Hampton Court because that was his favourite kind of hangout, basically.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so
And
he's
Bushy Park was one of his hunting grounds. He used to go and hunt the deer, and the deer's still there.
Hampton Court was his sort of, what do you call it? And somebody's got loads of homes as a favourite one.
Yeah.
Home from home.
His go-to place, you know. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just, I think we'll wind up here. So where can we find you, Wayne? Where can everybody find you? And what's next on the book?
If they came and find me, Surrey Spooks is in Earsham, which is in Surrey, which is just up the road from Hampton Court. But you can always look on Surrey Spooks, or I've got another one where everyone can advertise on, including both your groups, which is on ghost hunt videos and live streams and advertising ghost hunts. And you can put all your stuff up on there if you want, and that goes all over the world. And people can watch it and join your groups and can put whatever you want on there.
Say that title again.
Ghost hunt videos and live streams and advertising ghost hunts.
Oh, wow.
That's a bit of a tight one.
Yeah, it's got 1,700 members at the moment.
And about half an hour to type the title onto Facebook.
Yeah, but it's a big site. It's a big site.
Something kind of smaller, more compact.
I didn't know what to put down, so I just put that down. And it seems well, but you'll find it on there.
That's about 25 words or something.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
That's a big already.
Yeah, that's even bigger than Nineteen Kingdom Ghostbusters Part 1.
I wouldn't start me with Andy Murphy's.
I got it right.
Even I have to write it down to remember it.
I've forgotten it already. Going to start with Andy Murphy. He keeps changing it because he's in America now. He used to be Yorkshire, some Ghost Whisperers, and then he changed it.
It's now Community.
Yorkshire Ghost Whisperers / USA Community. I don't know. I'll get track. Apart from the 13th and the Para Camp, what's a good time? What's up next for you guys and girls?
Yeah.
We've not really got much plans as of yet. I've got the application to go and check tomorrow. David's away for the week and whatnot. Liz isn't keeping too well. But we will be out. We've got a couple of occasions also that we're using the 13th as well. So we might try and squeeze one in before that. But I haven't really got much so far. We've got a big one coming up in September. I think you know what it is, Scott. I've said to you, but I'm going to leave that now until closer to time. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Apparently, it's the most haunted location in Europe.
Cool.
That's all I'll say with that. It might be an island. That's what I'm saying.
Why do folk do that? Why don't you, now you're going to have folk Googling the most haunted locations in Ireland.
Keep them on their toes. That's it. Keep them on their toes.
Like that.
I know we're going to leave it because we're going to get a couple of hoodies and all that made up and stuff for when we go. So then once we got the hoodies made up, we'll post it on the group and say that's where we're going. I don't know if we can get live there. I think it might be a pain. But the best part is you get breakfast in the morning.
Good state.
Who cares if you don't have Wi-Fi as long as you get sausage and bacon? That's all that matters.
It's I was actually going to be looking at YouTube today, but we're looking forward to it definitely. So that's one of our biggest things coming up as well. So I'll check that location out tomorrow, and I'll let you know how it goes. It might be one that we can maybe collaborate in. I know it's not really the biggest, but there's the forest area surrounding it as well, which could be good.
Well, there's
Again, I don't know the
also
history.
Charlie and Rock's Paranormal suggested, which we're going to look at as well. The forest down south.
No.
So, it's called Paracamp.
Paracamp, that'll be interesting. I hope there's going to be tons of marshmallows.
I hate marshmallows.
What?
It's one thing I hate. Oh,
Make some schmores. Schmores, I think that's what they're called, isn't it? Schmores. Marshmallows with the biscuits.
I'm definitely going now. If he's friends with marshmallows and s'mores, I'm definitely going.
no, you can keep that. I'll just stick to smoky bacon crispy. I'll be a happy man with him, you know what I mean? We will be seeing Rigger with us again. Well, not with us, Charlie and Andy and myself. Rigger's coming on the lighter side on the 7th of August. I don't know if it's Charlie, if you challenge Rock Paranormal, and Andy, Andy and Kirsty's UKWGFC/USA.com.
This is long as time.
Who cares? He's in America. What can he do? I'm still wearing my hat, Mr. Murphy, by the way, if you do watch this. Still wearing my bonnet. The lighter side, it's a lighter look at the paranormal. We still take it serious, but we have a laugh and a joke. But this show is going to be different. As everybody knows, there's been a lot of bullying going on in the paranormal, a lot of bullying, a lot of drama, all that talk. So we decided that we're going to do a show on it, and we're just going to have a rant about the bullying that's going on in the paranormal. Riggs had some issues, herself. So he's coming on. I've got another couple of people lined up to come on and dealings with some drama as well. So that's the 7th of August. That'll be on. See Rigg again then. You might see him before then. I don't know. You know what I mean?
We don't know. Anything can happen.
Anything's possible. Oh, I've thought of another experiment, by the way, guys. Last night we were out and it turned out to be quite a success. Well, we think it was quite a success,
No, it was good. And as Laura seems to see, because she's away for it, so she doesn't really know what's going on. So she kind of feels that isolated. But then when you look back at it, and then you see what's been drawn down or wrote down, and then you see, obviously, you hear the response. That's when your mind even just goes, how?
I watched it back this morning when I went to work, and I was mind blown, honestly. What?
It's the simplest thing as well. Like we've been trying that one lately, and it's when we did a whiteboard, but when you're blindfolded and whatnot. But now we've tried it with EVP, so we'll get somebody in the live, a number, shape, whatever, write it down, and then we'll ask your spirit to communicate through the EVP, so we can actually hear the spirit say it. And the one with 67, when we've done the thing, I think it was Dennis and Christine, maybe. Dennis said 6, and 64 it was. Dennis said 6, and I think it was Christine said 4. So I said, we'll make it 64. David asked, Spirit, the number you can see, how's your time to say it? Silence for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Listen to it again. You hear David saying that question, and then you hear 64 coming through.
Oh, wow.
So that's
it was actually that's half of where I got the idea for, because we went to look at a location last week, and Laura had a walk that I call her walkman, because that annoys her when I say it's a walkman. And she says she'd heard a woman saying hi. There was nobody there. He was there, and I take it must have been the minister or something. The church he was there. And so that's what gave me the idea. I thought, well, if she's picked up a woman here, why don't we try it and and an experiment? And then I started thinking, well, how can we work it? And then I remember you guys had done the whiteboard and stuff. I said, well, so I started thinking, well, why don't we put the two of them together and see if it works? And that's how obviously I mailed you yesterday to say we weren't copying you, but it was the only kind of feasible way to make it work.
And it's no this high tech stuff either. It is really just something most simple things you can think of. And the fact is that you're asking people in the live, because you know it's like you could pre-arrange it and, or whatever. We'll say 7, we'll write 7 then. But if we're asking people in the live, so you're not expecting what they're going to say. I think one was 3, somebody said 3, I think Ice was one, eyes, that Warwick wouldn't say eyes, and things like that. Just something out of the ordinary.
Well, we were really surprised. We're really happy how it turned out. But I've got another wee sort of ferment. You know, you say rather. I know that you're the same way. Your heat's kind of constantly going. So I kind of fermented another wee idea in my head. That
I've got one as well. That, again, it's simple, but it could work. But I'll not say it'll deal until it's tested.
This one involves cat balls and a REM pod.
Right?
This involves cat balls and a REM pod, one REM pod. And that's it. But it doesn't involve you standing in any corners or nothing like that. But I'll tell you about it after we come off the live. Where it is. It might not work, but it's one of these things, they can actually pop into your head.
You want to be different as well. You don't want to be being the same as every team and using the same equipment all the time. You want to kind of be different because it could help spirits communicate. It could be a thing they find it so easy, and it should be that bit different as well. So saying not necessarily stand out as a team, but you're just like, oh, that team done that. We'll try that now. Instead of just going, oh, somebody's bought REM pod, I want that REM pod, or somebody's bought trail lights. Oh, let's buy trail lights. And all this carry on. I think sometimes too much equipment doesn't help the investigation as well. Because it's like a kid getting into a sweetie shop, innit? It's like, oh, what's this? If you just go with the basics, as you've done last night, basics, whiteboard, number, circle, whatever. Laura had her Walkman, as you said, in Scott. Just simple.
All right, but no, that's all you need, and if you want to try it, I mean, the hectic paranormal, she emailed me earlier on today, and she says, we're going to try that one, obviously there in Australia. They're going to try it by Rindle. You want to give it a go, then, see what happens. And the other reason, I mean, we cut it last night because we did promise the spirit, if you answer this question with the eyes, then we'll leave you in peace. And so I felt best. I wanted to carry on, but then I thought, no, I promised the spirits we're going to finish it up. So that's how we finished it up. Because if we go, it might sound stupid, but if we go back there the next time and maybe these same spirits are there, who's to say they'll not remember us? They say, well, they kept a promise the last time, so we're going to talk to them. It might sound ludicrous, I don't know. But
they must remember who you are.
What?
I think they must remember if you go back and you've been back there before, they must remember you.
Aye.
They got
so, that's what I thought. Well, we did promise you, so we will leave you in peace and we'll maybe see you again. Basic and simple. Aye, so I'm sure. But no, we will be trying it again. If other teams want to try it, then best of luck. Hope it works for them. Same as it worked for us. But I'll tell you about the idea when we come up. So we'll end it there. So a big thanks to Riggett and a big thanks to Wayne for coming in. We're back tomorrow night with Mr. Craig Aarons and Mr. David Espinosa.
Oh, I know them.
Sorry, bud.
I said I know them, the film producers.
The filmmakers.
Yeah, in America.
In America, all the way from sunny America. They're coming in. They're the owners of CRA Entertainment. So we're going to be talking about our latest 2 releases, Love and Quarantine and Demon Fighter. We've been waiting in these 2 films coming out, And Craig and I have spoke quite a few times about release dates. They're finally out, so Craig says we'll go come on and we'll have a chat. Dave is also going to be helping us with our Wallace Trail, Forgotten Braveheart documentary. David has over 40 years experience in the filmmaking business. It's going to be, he's offered the services to come on board with us when we do Wallace, which will be beginning of September. We do have a special live next Wednesday, which we're not going to tell you about just now. It's connected to William Wallace, but we're going to put the post up. I still need to talk to a couple of people, but it certainly will be a very special live, especially for us Scottish people, you know. But the post will be going up probably Monday after I spoke to a couple of people. So that's a wee heads up of what's coming up. You anything to say, my dear? No.
Okay.
You're happy? You good? Done deal. That's right. As long as you've got a pulse, that's the main thing. That's what I always say. As long as you've got a pulse. So a big thanks to Wayne and a big thanks to Rigger for coming in and
Thank you.
everyone for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully at 9 o'clock. So bye for now. Bye.
Bye.